2, 1. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Over. This is Stan Tinsley speaking. I'm talking today to Mr. Lawrence S. Barker of 5312 Buckhead Trail in Knoxville. This is 6th day of February 1991. Mr. Parker, when did you join the service?
Well, I originally signed up in January of 1942. Went to active duty in September of 42.
Okay, you were in the Marine Corps, right?
Right.
How old were you when you joined the Marines?
22.
Anybody else in your family in the service at that time?
No,
or later?
no.
Okay. The places where you trained and where you went from, one to the other and so forth.
The first post was the OCS at Quantico, Virginia, and then was I should say the OCS at Quantico, Virginia. After 3 months, we were probationary second lieutenants, and with the Reserve Officers Course, also at Quantico. At that time, I was transferred to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where I was sent to the engineer school, became an instructor in engineer school in mapping. Was then sent to New York for a super secret Navy school in landfall recognition. Back to Camp Lejeune, and then overseas joined the 2nd Marine Division in New Zealand. That was also in 42.
Okay. Had you been to different parts of the country
sorry.
before you got in service? Did you travel around some before you
Traveled some, yeah.
Okay. Describe some of the training that you had here in the States. And was it realistic and helpful?
Well, it was. We had in Quantico as future officers. We were given practically the same thing they got in boot camp at Paris Island and San Diego, except that we had on top of that a lot of classes, and it was realistic. It was helpful at that one time. We went from OCS to ROC, and it became more classes, more field problems. It was again realistic, except we were in the snow and ice in Virginia. We were preparing for South Pacific, where it was tropics, to break the ice, make the landings up there and whatnot. It was realistic because they could make it, yes, I think. Probably could have been improved on. We weren't working we were not studying World War I tactics at all. We were more modern tactics than that. They had the advantage of having Guadalcanal being fought about the same time and coming back from the Pacific to what we have to be getting into.
What did you think of the people that were in charge of your training?
Well, they were typical. They were the tough bunch. The NCOs were a tough bunch of good instructor types. The officers were, on whatever case, very intelligent men. We thought they were. They were people like ourselves, college graduates, in most cases. Very few Naval Academy graduates, because the Marine Corps' Officer Corps made up primarily of graduates of land-grant colleges, state universities, and so forth, VMI.
Okay, when did you leave the United States? Approximately.
Approximate date, say 20. We're working back on the dates from landing. It was in the fall of 43.
Tell me about
I think it was October. It was a rush trip because I was replacing someone who had been killed, and they rushed me out pretty fast. I was only with the division for a very short time before we left for Toronto.
Okay. Tell me about your overseas service.
You don't know about it. I mean, it's my job was
Just kind of
mapping, relief mapping, and reproduction of maps. So we were also all Marine officers, and almost all Marines were basically trained as infantrymen and demolitions sort of thing. So we were sent in an operation quite often. In the case of myself, on the Chihuahua, people got killed out there. We sit here in the shore in a take over a demolition platoon, or flamethrower, something like that. We lost people, and we lost quite a few.
Where did you leave from in the States?
Left from San Francisco.
Okay. And then tell me about your trip over and that the ship you were on that was grounded and so
Well, that was later on.
Was it? Okay.
That's another story. I was in a fast transport there back by North area, down to the zoo.
Yes,
I knew on when I was heading that way, and they wanted me out there fast.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, we had I replaced the guy who'd been killed, actually been murdered, to be honest about it. And he's about to clean the place up. So anyway, the first operation ashore was Tarawa, and we lost a lot of people and went ashore and actually handling demolition platoon. But did little or no surveying on shore that particular island because there wasn't much to survey, as you can imagine, the map. The mapping there was strictly by aerial photographs. The other islands around there, we were going to do some mapping, but they pulled us out of there and sent us to Hawaii after about 10 days. The place was stinking too bad. It was a mess. And we went to Hawaii and the big island of Hawaii, the Kabwala, which was on the Parker Ranch, and built a camp. And our engineering group did build a camp. Got it pretty well fixed up. And we forwarded out to Saipan. And we landed in Saipan in June 44, just after the D-Day landings in Europe. And so we got shipwrecked on the way out there. And this particular thing, if you notice that map, I showed you a while ago, we did do extensive mapping of the island. The only maps we had out there were some old Chicago maps that worked very good. And we had found, after we got ashore, some German maps. So the island belonged to the Germans at one time. Pretty good maps. But meanwhile, we did an extensive and rapid survey of the island and made good maps, real good maps. Which are still like, understand maps being used today out there. Not necessary, because the island was one of the largest land masses on the Knoxville for Guadalcanal. We gone east, and they wanted it for control. It was going to be used for over Fort Air Base, and it was used to B-29 Fort Air Base. And then we took Tinian right after that, which was the famous perfect landing. We were decoys down off of Tinian town, and Jeff was firing like us. Meanwhile, the 4th Division came ashore. North end of the island, there was some cliffs over there. Jeff and early, we had bulldozers about to cliff down. Came ashore early post. They'd been ashore for almost a day. So Jeff turned around and took up after them. We followed them ashore. And we were on Tinian for a few weeks. I wasn't there too long. We back to Saipan, back to mapping up there. And that's the crew on Tinian working. Interestingly enough, it's about 4 miles between Tinian and Saipan. They're supplying Tinian by air all the time before the water got so rough out there. Storms. They load those DC-3s up, barely get off the ground, stagger up, and then make an S-turn and stagger back down again. And then they started, the word is stagger because I rode one on one day, and we were about headed.
I know what you mean.
Anyway, we can build a map after the operation is over. We can do mapping on Saipan, and funny stories out of that. The Japanese were still there, up in the hills. We knew they were up in the hills. I warned our people, and they must go out, go armed. They would go out armed. They got tired of dragging along heavy arms to carry as light arms as possible. But one day they came back in early, and the first second was diary from the armory, and next day left, they were well armed, heavily armed. So I decided to follow them out and see what happened. It turned out the day before they run into a couple of Japs up there. The Japs were scared than they were, took off, I think, but they were in a firefight. Didn't do it. Another funny story about that survey cruise. They've been still operating, going on for a while, and we began to come in notes that they weren't making any progress. I decided to follow and see what was going on. So I get up there, and the crew's all up in this hill. Look at that. Turn it down to the various places. And they found a camp full of wax down this little valley there. Yeah. Anyway, after Saipan, Tinian, we were there until we went up to Okinawa. Let's say in Okinawa, which was Love Day, April 1st. It was 45. We were the invasion force. We ourselves were again the fake landing force. And engineers council, all those places down there. Anyway, they set in some other divisions, and they went ashore and got ashore at the opposition. Swung south and north and get real trouble. We came back to Saipan after we get this kamikaze attack I told you about. They put us aboard the LST, brought back to Saipan along with the rest of the division. Then turned around and took one of the regimental combat team at the 8th Marines, reinforced by some of my people and all, back up to Okinawa as the final push down the island. That's now Castle and so forth. And that didn't last too long. I didn't go back up. We were there until they dropped the bomb, to August, as you know, 45. And Japan is early September is occupation forces. And we were actually I had been mapping, preparing maps for landing in Japan. And we had them half done when they dropped the bomb, the war ended. One thing in there I guess I failed to talk about was Iwo Jima. We didn't go there. We almost went there. The division almost went there, but they got Sobachi and they decided definitely they go take the island. All right, we were actually preparing maps to go up there. But anyway, go back to Japan. We were making maps up at our division headquarters, and put the word in that they dropped the bomb, or the captain surrendered against them. And we would go up there in the occupation forces. So we had to start making more maps for different places. Maps of Nagasaki, matter of fact, in that area. Of course, by the time we got to Nagasaki, I didn't look anything like it before the spirit air photographs we had. But we were there, you saw the pictures for some 3 months ago. Left there and left the...
Go ahead, excuse me.
Left there and went up to Itzehoe. Well, it's a Sable. It's a big Japanese naval base. To transport home. And they joined the 5th Division to transport home, and the people of the 5th Division, engineers, the people I had trained at Camp Lejeune, so I back home again. Because came back into the States Christmas Eve, 1945.
Christmas Eve.
Came back Point Nolan. We had all of us, all the officers at least, had one set of clean khaki. And we all put it on. We were going to land looking really sharped up. And that SOB of a naval captain blew his boilers down just as we were just off the point. That ship came down and speaks us all over. He almost got lynched. And I came back and was in Camp Finland for a week or so. The orders home and came by Chattanooga to see my mother and not Knoxville to see Beth. I mean, saw a bit of me. Just talked to so much during that day or so. Went down to Paris Island and was deactivated at Paris Island. I say deactivated because we were not allowed to retire or get out. We were an officer in the Marine Corps and Navy, I think. Had to if you were getting referred, so they let you out.
I see. And
so I was just put in active duty there. We had a period of time down there where we were supposed to be active doing anything around the bar. The officers' mess.
You still stay in touch with some of the fellows you served with?
Unfortunately, no. I did for a long time. I don't get to die out and whatnot. And a few years back, one of the fellows in our class wrote and wanted to see if we could get us a reunion together. I already back all the names I knew about, and I never heard from him again, so I guess he got too few. John Craig here in Knoxville, I say, was a classmate of mine, Quantico. I never see John, but once in a great while. It's a special thing. I knew we lived in Birmingham, Alabama. Well, there were several people down there I knew, had known, and got with them. And I lived in Chicago. There were several people up there who I'd known in that area. Like when I was living there, one of our instructors, Quantico. There's a lake blown off on Iwo Jima. And, but now I think that we completely lost track. And unfortunately, this is bad. I wish we had. This is probably the result of moving around as much as we had.
Yeah.
Well, after all, we did move around a great deal. And that's the typical engineer's life, I suppose, in a way.
What were your relationships with the civilians that you met along the way?
Which would you mean, American civilians overseas?
No, when you were overseas.
We didn't have too many of them. We were. You saw the pictures of the Japs there. They were not much. And a few Chamorros we ran into. They were really very friendly. They were really American citizens most of the time I was gone. And what little I had to do with him was friendly enough. He wasn't any socializing like that at all. In Japan proper, we were not supposed to socialize, and we didn't too much, just a little bit. Out of curiosity, frankly. We wanted to see what the Japanese really, how they really lived.
Yeah.
And our headquarters were out in an area of, I guess, supposed to do Japanese tongue. And we found out, or I found out, you probably saw the same thing, the well-to-do Japanese were pale skinned, had less slanted eyes, were taller people. And we wanted the big Japanese, the big Japs. We called them the Japanese Marines were big fellas. And they were that kind of people. They were almost Occidental in appearance. And well educated as a rule, and talked to both those spoke English very well, better than I do. I've got to do partial bridges in my mouth, and I'm talking kind of funny today. These people were very nice, and I met very few of them, however. My relations with the civilians overseas was not much.
What with the Allied troops? Did you see?
Well, the ones with the Army mostly, and the Marines and the Army get along like cats and dogs sometimes, and that's about the Navy. We get along fine with the Navy.
How about did you have any contact in New Zealand with any of the...
No, the New Zealanders, no. That's funny, too. Their people were all somewhere else at that point in time.
Yeah, their troops were all,
they were all
North
out, yeah,
Africa
that's
someplace, weren't they? Yeah.
I was only there way too short a time. I'll tell you, because the guys had been there had a big time. They thoroughly enjoyed it. You see what happened? People came out of America now, they were soaked up with malaria. The mosquito was bad then. New Zealand was a good, cool place from the be. Fairly high country and cool. And they were able to get over this thing down there. And the people were welcomed with open arms, literally, because they had many men around much. And it was a great place. I got along with the fellows. I moved up to Australia, I told you that, I worked here. And got along with found people out there. They loved Americans. In fact, they celebrate in Australia today. They celebrate Anzac Day. When the American, no, that's just another holiday. Celebrate the Battle of Carl Sea Day. In every major city, they're all coastal cities, they bring in an American Navy ship of some kind. The crews are just treated like kings. A big banquets for them. You see there, that's something from Carl's.
Well, you pretty well told me this, but I didn't ask it for put on the tape. What did you plan to do after the war was over, and did you end up doing what your plans were?
Well, I did get my degree in civil engineering, with honors, as a matter of fact. And I planned to work as an engineer, which I guess I essentially did. I wish I had, now looking back on it, I wish I had gone on to graduate school and got an MBA, but I had learned the things the MBA had learned from hard practice. There's a lot of accounting and so forth required if you're going into management work. Yes, I followed it pretty much. My father had different ideas. Dad, unfortunately, died when I was overseas, but he had planned for me to come back to the law school. Well, civil engineering and law school are awfully compatible. You get a lawyer with a civil background, you got a guy who done pretty well. And he had 2 or 3 friends who had done this, done very well.
I see.
So I didn't know that until I got home. Get married and everything, I didn't know it too. My Bear Rose and I were engaged. Went back when I get married, she went too.
Did the war change you?
Oh, probably so. I imagine it did.
You think it changed the country?
World War II didn't change it enough, I don't think. It changed it some, probably. Make us aware of the problems in the world that we have the problems, they still have the problems. They unfortunately demobilized way too fast and backed away from the problems. About that, I don't know, but I think we just opened ourselves up to all kind of problems from more aggressive the world. Could have kept a little stronger a little longer.
You think we could have done better during the war?
I suspect to get more training for your troops. I suspect that longer training would have been helped. In fact, I know it would have been. Mind you, I'm not fussing that he picked a branch of service, but I did see some problems in the Army, who was, really didn't know what they didn't know to right from another. Overseas, they'd just been thrown into it. They hadn't had a chance. Now, no Marine could say that. He'd gone through Paris Island or Quantico or San Diego. He knew how to shoot, at least. I mean, they've been very smart, but he could still shoot a rifle. And that's the other kids weren't trained that way. I think today's service, and even then, a lot of highly specialized jobs, and they're necessary, very necessary today. This thing today is, you and I couldn't fathom it, I don't think. There's so many high-tech things that we would have lost all on the highways. I would be anyway. And yet, we both have, I think we both have knowledge of technology. We're trying to see that stuff in this world. And one of our first things was assignment to go overseas, go to Germany, and look over this thing you're planning over there. It's kind of a melting operation. So we go over and welcome Jerry with open arms and this German stuff, you know. And they always start asking, where were you during the war? This is back, this is 1906, there it is, big picture. And the question was, where were you during the war? So when I was over in the Pacific, I was in, that's nice, that. And he had burnt to Jerry said, I was in England. He got to about to get food. Of course, Jerry was a beat 17 pounds. We were stunned. We stayed down at one of the big towns. There was aiming point for this town. They didn't like you after that either.
Is that right?
They liked it. But you never found a German that ever fought the Americans. They all fought the British. Somebody else, never the Americans. The British, but never the Americans. I was sick as a dog. Break both feet.
Yeah, right.
I really feel invisible in that thing. Something moved me up. I had a tent hot and skin that boat. All the water to fight before you over. I looked up and I see this damn bearded Japanese with a knife right over me and I said, holy boy, I reached for my 45, got up like that, and realized it's a damn goat.
Oh, that's great.
We were wandering around all the place out there. I just see your mind say, your bearded face,
Yeah.
with a horn or something. Oh, training on various things. My sergeant gave an idea, so let's make a bit. As we were thinking this map from Japan, from Saipan to various spots around the Pacific. The straight kind of. We did that, and our general saw it one day. He gave it to the Air Force general. I don't remember his name was. Kurt LeMay, I guess, for him. And he wanted some more copies of it. We had a big bed sheet type thing. We prayed a bunch of up and down to him. He said, invitation back to come down. We'd like to entertain you fellas. So I went down. Bigger dice, they had drinks with about. We got friendly with this guy, Bob Moore. I mentioned the Memphis Bell skipper who read that blew him out recently. And a bunch of the boys. We come back to our place and drink, and go to their place and drink. We had whiskey now, mind you. The Naval Service had it. But $1 a bottle, whether it was good, bad, or different, but we had it. And when we were on the island of Hawaii, they brought a shipload in, and we couldn't take it, but they wanted to charge of duty, we wouldn't take it to them. We got to Saipan. They had 2 shiploads out there for us. Anyway, what you did, of course, was we bought it, put in the mess. You bought some extra bottles, gave it to good senior NCOs. You wanted to send you that anyway. And so everything was 13 But we keep kidding each other about flying up there at 20,000 feet, you know, safe airplanes, and God, we're sitting here in a khaki shirt fighting the damn Japanese. Come and go with us sometime. Well, we will sometime. We used to go out and take a ride with them. They'd fly around, check the engine out around the island, and that's kind of fun. And fly inside and go on back up. No problem. So one day, Bob Morgan called me up. He says, we're going up to Japan. I know you know probably. He said, you're taking a trip. You want to go along? Sure. So Mike Mostower and I, we get on board these 2 different airplanes. Bruce W. Well, we took off one day. We just like we going to Japan. We were in with tight. Well, that trip, I'll tell you, we got in no trouble up there, fortunately for me. We got back to camp, Saipan, and just barely got in my tent. The old man said, "You just get in here." I went. He dust me upside down. The other, he said, "Damn fool, you were deserting. You were deserted. You'd go down to see we lived a deserter back now. You had no authorization to go up there at all. You had no reason to go up there at all. Ever get on those planes again? No problem, sir. I never will, believe it." So Anyway, that was one of the funny things. Funny things happen. The human mind is a great thing. You're able to block out